Karen.
Yes.
What if you could tap into a collective of around 350,000 angels who move and work together as one unified being, kind of like a swarm of birds?
You'd lose me because I would never untap. I'd just be in my room, tapped in forever.
Right. But I'm assuming if you couldn't channel them yourselves, would you have a ton of questions for them?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, you are in luck because today we have a wonderful opportunity to chat with and about beings that are considered to be the Oprah of the cosmos.
I love Oprah, and I love the cosmos.
Well, then you're going to love this episode because they're called the Judah Collective, and they're here to introduce us to powerful spiritual beings from another dimension, ready to help us in the moment that we ask. How are we going to do that, you ask? Stay tuned to listen to one of our most important episodes to date. Welcome to the Skeptic Metaphysicians. My name is Will.
And I'm Karen.
And unlike Mulder and Scully,
we both want to believe.
So we've embarked on a journey of discovery.
We've talked to people deeply entrenched in the spiritual and metaphysical world.
We've thrown ourselves into weird and wonderful experiences. I even joined a coven of witches.
And, wait, you joined a coven?
Yep, all in the interest of finding something.
Anything.
That will prove that there's something beyond this physical,
three-dimensional world we all live in.
This is the Skeptic Metaphysicians.
Will?
Karen.
I had to do that.
Of course. Yes. I've been waiting.
I have too. We've been waiting for a lot of things. And lately, we were waiting on something that was a little scary to wait for. But before we give the big finale to the story, we have to start from the beginning.
Okay.
So our life has been a bit of a turmoil for the last year and a half. Do you want to share why?
Yeah, quietly. It's been a quiet turmoil. We haven't shared it with many, many people. Just a few, just a handful of people know. But yeah, about a year and a half ago, my PSA levels, my blood levels were elevated. So my doctor sent me to a urologist who informed me after a biopsy that I had prostate cancer. So it was too small to do anything about it right away. It was very small. It was not anything that we needed to worry about.
Some people might not consider it cancer.
Yes.
Like me.
Yeah.
No, I mean.
So much so that we actually went to a different urologist for a second opinion who also confirmed the findings that I indeed did have prostate cancer. So what they decided to do was this thing called active surveillance, which means that every 6 months I get a blood test to see what my PSA levels are. And every year I go in for a biopsy once again.
They should call it stressful surveillance because that's really what it was.
It really was.
Sitting around not doing anything actively
Yeah.
until they surveil the situation other than, stressing.
Yeah. And I don't wish this on anybody.
Nobody.
But if anyone who has ever gone through it would understand that once you have been deemed with the dreaded letter C, nothing's ever the same. No matter how small or how big it is, when you have been diagnosed with cancer, it always affects you in a very, very stressful way.
And your family.
Of course. I don't mean to minimize that at all. So at my last PSA test, my levels were not what we had hoped. Secretly, we'd hoped that the biopsy needle had actually taken all the cancer out of it, so then my PSA levels would be back to normal. However, it wasn't the case. My levels indeed were a little bit even more elevated. So they decided to do another biopsy, this time with the help of an MRI. Karen, you know the term much better than me.
The targeted biopsy?
Yeah, targeted bilateral biopsy. So what they do is they send you into an MRI machine.
Which you loved.
Oh my gosh, I hated it with a passion. But anyway, that's a story for another day because I had some weird things happen while I was in there. But they do an MRI, and what they do is they put the results of the MRI over a 3D map that they do with the ultrasound of your prostate as you're getting your biopsy, and they target the biopsy needle to where they see areas of interest. Sadly, when they did the MRI, they found a second larger spot in my prostate that they were very concerned with.
On the other side.
On the opposite side.
Now, we have to mention that throughout the last year and a half going through this, obviously, yes, trying to be healthy and eating food with additional turmeric and everything. But one thing that we also did was really reach out to the community that we've formed through the Skeptic Metaphysician.
Right.
We had some wonderful conversations, and you had some great sessions with some healers. We went to the harmonic egg. Anything that could in any way, shape, or form help, we've done.
Absolutely.
On the spiritual side.
Yeah, we dove in. The
metaphysical side.
Any kind of healing modality that we came across, not only did we have them on the show, but we also asked them for help.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they did that second biopsy just a little bit over a week ago. And the worst part was waiting for those results.
More waiting.
Because it was a week, right, between the time that I had my biopsy to the time that they actually released the results.
And the appointment they set up was going to be like 20 days after the biopsy.
Yes.
22 days.
It was a long time.
Terrible length of time. That seems like 6 years.
An unfair amount of time, to be frank. But when the results finally came in, I was shaking. I was shaking like I don't think I've ever shook before. I'm not afraid to say that I was the most scared I've ever been in my life because I didn't know what those results are going to be. The MRI said that it is likely cancer.
The new lesion.
And there was a large one. So there was big concern. So when I opened up the results, long story short, there was a whole long drawn up process. I read the results about 15 times before I gave up. I wasn't able to absorb what the results were saying. So I literally took my computer and put it in front of Karen and said, can you please tell me if you're seeing what I'm seeing here?
Now, if you're me, you see your husband who's been stressing about this, and we've all been stressing about this for a while, walk in with the laptop computer, his tears in his eyes saying, I've got my results. Tell me if you're seeing what I'm seeing. So you can imagine my heart instantly went, down to through the earth. Yeah. I mean, it fell so far.
Well, there was a very distinct reason why there were tears in my eyes. The results that I was reading, they took 13 cores. So basically they put 13 needles in my prostate, took 13 samples, and core by core, one by one, each one kept saying benign, 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 benign. All 13 cores came back reading benign. So to me, I was seeing something wrong. I was misinterpreting it. It could not be possible that not only was the new lesion not anything to worry about, but the old one wasn't even there anymore. Somehow the cancer disappeared.
It's gone. Totally gone.
So obviously elated. I mean, celebrations that you could not believe. And we owe a huge debt of gratitude to all of those folks that have come on the show and have so graciously donated their time to send me healing energies, whether it's a harmonic egg or the intuitive healers or
even just talking about it and thinking about it and sending love and
absolutely
thoughts and vibrations to you.
The Ayurvedic diet, I throw myself into everything, every single healing modality. We don't know which one helped or that all of them in combination all help, but we are in such gratitude to every single one of you who helped by sending us energy, who sent us good thoughts, positive vibes, good well wishes, everything. This community has been unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
And we owe you so much.
And even just talking to us and helping us have hope so that we didn't spend the last year and a half in the complete darkness and sadness that could be.
Yes. Yes. So we are here. I know this was a little bit longer story than we usually do, but we felt it important enough to share with you because I am a living example of you can overcome it. I am now happy to say I am a cancer survivor thanks to the help of the community that we call ourselves part of. So thank you for listening. Thank you for sending us all your positive thoughts. And thank you for being part of this community.
And most of all, we love you.
Anjie Hipple is the author of The Answer to All Your Questions and the creator of the True You Accelerator course. And right now, she says she's playing the most important role of her life, that of a channel for a beautiful collective of angelic beings from the fifth dimension. Their name is Judah, and they're a collective of around 350,000 angels who move and work together as one being. And she believes that we are all going to be working together, the humans and these beautiful beings who are channeled for our highest good. Welcome to the show, Anjie Hipple.
Thank you, Will. Hi, Karen and Will. It's great to meet you both.
We are excited. This is, unique in so many ways, but also a little worrying.
No, it's wonderful. This is weird, but just when you said that she has, access to this group of hundreds of angels, like
350,000.
I almost started my eyes welled up.
Oh, but you know why?
Why?
Because I think you're one of them. So, Anjie, we should disclose. Karen has been proven that she is an angel on the earth.
Yes.
And she's probably identifying very much with the Judah collective. You might be one of the collective, Karen.
You might be.
I don't think so.
You might be. This is one of the things that they explained over time as I was getting to know them. It's a lot like a relationship with, you meet someone, you exchange some small talk, and then over time you spend a little more time together and share stories and information. And it's been a lot like that with them. And one of the things they revealed over time is that I actually incarnated into this life from the collective of Judah. So my soul is an angelic soul, and that's they're my soul family. And so that's what's made the connection so easy. And there are people like you, Karen, and I, and others on the earth who actually are angelic in nature and part of angelic families that made a decision to come here to earth for specific purposes. Sometimes, in my case, I sort of, fell asleep or was unaware of this angelic connection until my late 40s. And I've just woken up to that. And when they came and I remembered this connection, it's been so powerful and so profound. But this is a real thing. There are some people on the earth today, like yourself, like me, who are angels in human bodies. Our souls are angelic, in other words.
Mic drop, Karen. I rest my case. All right. Well, regardless of whether Karen is one of the collective or not, I'm really curious about the Judah collective because I'm not sure, did I introduce them correctly?
Yes. When they first came to me, they explained to me that they were speaking as one voice, but they are unified, around 350,000 angels that work together. Later, I had more information that they come from Sirius A, that they are a part of the Christ consciousness, and they are sort of like lionish in their presence, in their being, and in the way they present themselves. So if you saw them, you might see them as a brilliantly shining lion.
Wow, I like that.
And sometimes, this is a little funny trivia Judah bit. Sometimes when they're channeling through me, I'll actually snort like a lion. I think, why am I breathing like that? I'm snorting like a lion.
I do want to call something out as you're speaking about these beings and how they are the form of a lion. Those of you who are only listening to the show, you're not getting the whole thing, because if you were to see Karen, watch Karen's, her eyes have been welling up with tears this entire time. So, Karen,
I don't even know what's happening. I don't know. I don't know what I'm feeling.
That's amazing. Well, sometimes it is. When you meet your angel family, I think it could be a lot like, if you imagine yourself, if you were born a twin and you were separated at birth from your twin, and each of you were raised by a different family, and then maybe you got to be in your 30s or 40s or 50s and you had the opportunity to meet them, the joy that you would feel. I think it's very much like that when we get reconnected with our cosmic family, because our cosmic family has much more influence over us than even our biological family, ultimately, because our cosmic family is the family of our soul. And our soul is the part of us that never dies. It existed before we came to be in our mother's womb, and it will go on existing after we die. Our cosmic family is precious to us. And I have had, Karen, just so you know, I've had a couple of folks that I've worked with that said, I really feel a connection to Judah. Judah's available for everybody and anybody that wants to have a relationship with them.
It's uncanny to me how much this is affecting you, Karen, because as I told you many, many times, we talked about the fact that you're an angel. So it just seems like that this could be something that where you are, like she's saying, you're feeling home, your people, right? Your family is who comes through with Anjie. So you might be feeling that. So
Yeah, I've not. This is just like overwhelming, surprising, unexpected. I mean, I'm like, where are these? What's happening? Where are these tears coming from?
right. Well, then up until now, you've been going through life as a wife and a mother and not thinking, oh, any minute these 350,000 angelic beings are going to come through to me. How did you come to terms with the fact that A, this was real, and B, that these beings were now with you for good?
Forever. Yeah. Well, the happening was so profound. I wasn't expecting to become a channeler.
Tell us about when you had this awakening, when it happened, and how it felt.
Oh, yeah. All right. We'll see if I can give you the trailer version of the movie. Well, I grew up when I was about 7 or 8 years old. I started asking my mom questions about God, and she had a church background from her own upbringing, and she felt prompted to take me to church. That was the only really resource she knew of for answering these questions that I had about God. And I remember after some time of going with my mom, sitting in a pew one night and hearing the preacher talk about hell. And I thought, oh no, I don't want to go to hell. Definitely don't want to go to hell. And I also remember thinking, oh no, I don't want to be separated from Jesus. And in that moment, this mist came all around me. It was like I had been enveloped in this beautiful fog. And I just felt overcome with love and bliss and joy. And I wasn't sure what to do, but I heard them telling me, the preacher saying that I should come down the aisle if I wanted to receive this beautiful Jesus into my life. And so I did what any child would do, and not having any other information or insight, I just trotted right down that aisle and I repeated the prayer that they asked me to pray. And I was baptized and I started reading my Bible, and I was just very, very happy to do anything that was given to me to do, because I had been overcome with this presence of love. And I had different moments like this off and on throughout my childhood and young adulthood, where I would experience this tangible, powerful, loving presence come in the room with me. And my only frame of reference for who and what that might be was from my Christian upbringing. So I made a lot of false assumptions and associations because of that. Not really having a lot of guidance or understanding.
Yeah.
So, I gave it my best college try, my Girl Scout best. I just wasn't happy. Life didn't seem to work. I didn't know why. Looking back on it, I think a lot of it was, what we were just talking about, Karen. Sometimes you just have this sense that you don't know where your tribe is, or that you don't quite belong here, and I think for some star seeds and angelic souls that are incarnated here, and we've been trying to make things work in the cultures and concepts that we've been given, and it just doesn't quite feel right, or it doesn't feel like home, and we haven't met our people. And so we have this kind of a lost child syndrome, And when about 7 years ago, my father died suddenly, and I was the only child, and I was really heartbroken. And I found this to be a very common thread when people have an awakening or suddenly begin to receive contact from angels or cosmic beings, or suddenly become channelers. A lot of times it's either from a near-death experience or a really traumatic loss of someone that is very beloved. So when my father died, everything came apart at the seams. Everything. All my roles started getting peeled away by life one at a time. I couldn't be the great teacher, mother, wife. I was in deep grief. I ended up divorced. I ended up taking an exit out of Christian life. It just felt like my soul was longing for freedom. And I had no idea where it was, what it looked like. But I knew that what I was doing wasn't working anymore. A couple of years into this process of letting go of all my roles, I found a new spiritual partner who was the opposite of everything I knew. He was that weird hippie guru ashram guy from the 70s, right? And never touched a Bible, wouldn't touch one with a 10-foot pole, So we were these polar opposites, but yet he was a true seeker. He'd been meditating for, I don't know, decades and decades. And we began this journey together. Somewhere in that process, COVID happened. I was in this new awakening I was experiencing that seemed like the Lemony Snicket series of unfortunate events. It was really a setup. I was getting set up for a rapid shedding of my ego. And man, was it was just flying everywhere. The ego stuff was coming off. And so Chuck my new partner was helping me along in this process. Got into COVID early on in 2020. I contracted COVID. I got very, very sick. At the time that I contracted it, I was running 3 miles a day. I was in grayed out, and it attacked my heart. And
Oh my gosh.
I was a long hauler. I had a lot of things going on. But for about 2 years, I really did nothing but just sit around in a chair, meditate, and ponder, and let go. And so the universe, whoever and whatever God is and these beautiful angels are, they were giving me this glorious opportunity to let go of everything that I had derived any sense of worth or value from. I didn't have the strength to sing. That was one of the last straws for me, because that had been a joyful place for me for so many years. And I would come in the studio and try to sing, and I didn't have enough breath to sing a song. So everything was being stripped. Finally, somewhere near the end of about 2 years, I was sitting in the chair and just letting it all go. Okay. All right. So I can't contribute anything anymore to anyone. And there's nothing I have to be. And there's nothing I have to do. And God still loves me anyway, whoever and whatever God is. I let all those definitions go. And at about that time, my third little grandbaby was about to be born, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to be there because I didn't have the strength to go. I wasn't well enough, and I let that go too. And just so much surrender. One night we were sitting on the sofa, Chuck and I, and we were watching a beautiful channeler named Wendy Kennedy on YouTube or something, on probably a show very much like this one. And Chuck said, "You could do that." And I thought, well, that might be one thing I can actually do while I sit here in my chair doing absolutely nothing else. And I said, okay, whatever, universe, I'm open for whatever. And within hours, I started getting amazing downloads. When I went to bed, I felt my little grandbaby as if he was in my physical body. I felt my womb contract. I felt his little head pushing on the floor of my pelvis as if he was in my body. I started having all these amazing psychic phenomenon. And some voice was telling me all about this sweet little baby and why he was coming to the earth and what he was going to do and why he was so important and what kind of a kid and adult he was going to be. And I got up and I just typed it all up. And the next, when Chuck came home from work, I said, listen to this. And I read it to him. And he said, well, who is it? I said, it's some being named Judah. And we said, well, what do we do now? And we sat down together and we said, well, let's just meditate and see what happens. And within a few minutes, this big booming voice came. And so for a year now, almost every night, we get visited by Judah. And the reason we call Judah the Oprah, besides the fact that I love Oprah, is because if you ever get a call from Oprah, you know your life just radically changed, right? everything about your life.
Very true.
Yes.
Very true.
And then if she starts introducing you to some of her other friends, then you know each one of them that you meet is going to be a game changer too. And
Right.
for a while it was just Judah, but then Judah introduced us to the Pleiadians and to Lars of Arcturus and Zed of the Tall Grays. And then we met Rolf, who is an ancient mantoid being, who's the keeper of the crust of the Earth's mantle, and Bella, who's a group of fairies who are really passionate about straightening parents out and how they're raising their kids. And so we're just having a party over here all the time, and Judah's hosting.
It's an incredible story. It sounds like the spiritual awakening aspect of what you went through. We've heard that type of story before, not quite like yours, but the fact that you had to surrender, and when the act of surrender is what actually helped all of this start to snowball, start to happen. I have a ton of questions to ask you, but I also would love to talk to the Judah Collective themselves. We need to take a break, so stay with us. When we come back, we're going to see if we can't make contact with Judah, and then we'll ask some more questions of Anjie, but stay with us because you do not want to miss this. Welcome back to the Skeptic Metaphysicians. We are talking to Anjie Hipple and her cadre of beings that have channeled through her 350,000 angelic beings that talk through her and about the teachings and how we're supposed to live life and all that kind of stuff. She told us her story, how she awakened to these beings. And I think, Anjie, you had one more thing you wanted to express about that.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that within hours of Judah coming, I realized that I was completely, totally physically healed, which was a miracle. I was totally back to health, no more health problems. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that, I never set out to be a channeler, but I had set out and had an intention in my heart to come into fullness of awakening and move towards enlightenment, whatever that meant, and fulfilling the purpose of my soul, and through meditating and listening to enlightened beings and just being the skeptic metaphysician that you talked about, re-examining all my beliefs. And so channeling was just this really happy accident, and quote unquote accident that happened. And Judah and angels, that's the other thing I want to say, is they have such power, raw, supernatural, spiritual power to add to our desire to awaken and our desire to be enlightened and fulfill our purpose. And that's why I'm so very thankful to them.
Definitely a theme of healing on the show. So we we are thrilled that we're aligned on that path tremendously. So, all right. So before we left, we teased the fact that we might have a chance to speak to the collective ourselves. So I'm curious if you feel that they might be around and might want to have a conversation very briefly with us.
Absolutely. And you ask anything you want, and we'll just jump in. Ready? Okay. Yes. Hello, Bill and Karen, and hello to all your beautiful listeners. We are so very happy that you are here. We love being here with you. And this is the beauty of what it means to be angelic and to be a soul, is that we are where you are and you are where we are, and we are all here together, even if our physical spaces are different. You see, in the fifth dimension, we are all connected. It is a truth. It is a reality. And that is why when Anjie came and logged on with you, that Karen could feel the tears and the presence coming where she is, because we are there with you. And you are here with us. And we are happy to answer any questions you have for us.
Great. Well, I mean, the first question I have, you touched on. So we are one, we're all connected. But at the beginning of the show, we mentioned the fact that you are a collection of 350,000 angelic beings. So if we are all one, you hear, once we pass on to the next life, we reconnect as one. So how is it that you are still have individual identities?
Well, we are very many individual souls, but you see, there is no competition
we are constantly deferring and preferring one another, deferring and preferring one another in love. And so it doesn't feel like a sacrifice for one of our souls to allow the other to step forward, or for one of us to step back. And we just move together in oneness like a swarm of birds. If you've ever seen that happen, that phenomenon of thousands of birds in the sky moving together as one unit. And sometimes this vessel gets questions from people. They seem kind of surprised that we step aside so willingly for these other beings to speak through the vessel in a channeling situation. And some of them, as people in your spiritual culture would say, are lower in vibration than we are. But you see, we don't think of anything in that regard whatsoever. We do see ourselves as one with all beings, and everyone is involving, including angels. Angels are not perfect. They are also on their path of evolution. They, however, of course, have perhaps come to a place that where their vibration is higher and more consistently higher, and can appropriate more consistently at a higher level the raw essence of God, of life force energy, and we are happy to share that. So for you to say we are all one is a meme. For us, it is a living, working reality of who and how we are.
I love it, being called out by angelic beings
Yes.
using memes.
we do a lot of that because, you see, there's not a lot of time. And there are many people who are desperately searching for answers and for the revelation and expansion and the practical ability to be their beautiful, the soul that they are in the context of the life in which they live. We see this because there are so many, even in this moment, committing suicide. This vessel's precious stepson lost 10 classmates at his university this week to suicide. And it's not because they have done anything wrong. It is because the culture is wrong and does not know how, unfortunately, to embrace these precious ones and show them the reality of the treasure of their vast eternal soul. And they long for this spiritual connection. And the only way they understand to find it is through this terrible end. And this is why we must work fast and we tell the truth, because when we tell the truth to you, dear ones, we tell it to you because we love you. And you feel that. You feel, oh, I just was scolded a little bit, but you laugh. You laugh because it feels so good, the love of truth. And the truth without love hurts. And there's a lot of that. There are a lot of people in spiritual circles who have a lot of quote unquote truth to share, but it is not coming from a heart of love. And so it hurts and wounds. And we are not about ego annihilation. We are about ego relaxation. And so love all the fearful and hurting parts of who you are. Love your egoic parts. They're your little childlike parts that need hugs and kisses. They are the parts of you that are like your frightened rescue pup that needs to be carried down the stairs, not scolded, you see. And so this is a big part of Judah's message. Our message is ego relaxation, not annihilation. Loving the fearful egoic parts, embracing them and giving them safe places for the soul to expand and override them.
I love that.
Well, we hear so much about people having near-death experiences, and that's how they gain this ability to communicate, like with you. Now, how would someone like me that isn't in that situation, how could I communicate or make contact with you?
Well,
or is that just not possible?
Absolutely possible. And this vessel has invested thousands of hours in writing exactly how that happened for her entire experience in a 10-week course with hundreds of pages. and hours of information. But the quick answer is absolutely yes. And yes, dear Karen, it is you too. You have angels all around you, my dear. And just by acknowledging that in a childlike sense of faith, you don't have to see them. They are there and you feel their presence. One of the ways that you feel our presence is through that rush of emotion, be it joy or tears or just a tingly sensation or just feeling lighter and better, you see. And just trust that we are there and start talking to us. Have you ever had the experience that you thought of someone, you thought, oh, I want to call Sue today. Maybe you hadn't spoken to her in a year. And then within a moment or two, Sue rang your phone? Yes. So she was there all along, was she not? And so were you. It was just a matter of making the connection, and the connection was made telepathically through thought. And so we are here right now for you, dear, right here, right there in the room with you and all around you. And just your thought, just your thinking of us. And then we may connect. We may connect, just like with the cell phone, you see. Well, you don't understand all about how it works, do you? But yet it works nonetheless. And so you just call out to us and we will answer. And we answer not always through a big booming altercation as we are doing through this vessel, though if that is something you desire, you are certainly welcome to do that as well. But understand that we come in these gentle thought impressions that make you feel better. And that is us. And it is us conjoining like conjoined twins with your higher self. We are not God. We are your big brothers and sisters, my dear. And just like if you have a big brother or sister, and you look at them sometimes and you can see they have your same nose or your same eyes or maybe some of your same mannerisms and so on, you see. Well, we are your big brothers and sisters. And when you hear us and you talk with us, you will see a little bit of us in you and you in us.
I think I'm seeing an awful lot of you in Karen and vice versa. Again, if you're only listening to the show, you're missing part of it. Karen, are you okay?
Yes.
I mean, this is really touching you.
Her,
Wow,
and
you're
we're
really
so glad to
resonating with
find
you.
her here. We're just pulling her into our heart today and giving her the biggest hugs because we're so happy
Oh, you can
for
make me
this
cry.
reuniting, a family reunion.
Gosh. Well,
And it's never
Karen,
too
I'm
late,
going to give
my
you a
dears.
second to...
Never too late to have a dream. Never too late to meet your angels and be reunited to your tribe. We don't think in terms of a 70 or 80-year life, you see. You are an eternal soul. And what is happening in this moment for you, dear, is you're remembering. You're remembering a connection to us and to angels that you have had in the past. And you're remembering as if you're waking up from a dream and remembering a dream, but the dream is real.
It's real, Karen. It's real. What I've been telling you for a long time, this is the only time I'm going to go, I told you so. Now, I'd like to go back a little bit to something, the answer you gave us to the first question about the challenges that we're going through in this world. And I know I don't want to keep you too much longer. So really the question I have is, with so much strife, with so many difficult problems happening, what can we do here to help bridge that gap? How can we help humanity to remember? How can we handle the strife and the conflict that we are experiencing as humanity right now?
Yes. Wonderful. Well, we have tons to say about this, but we will keep it simple. And we will say that there are hundreds of hours of free channels on this vessel's YouTube, free on this topic, where Judah and other beings will speak. But we will make it short and sweet here. And please be careful not to hear it as a meme or something trite, but it is just as simple as this. Love the one in front of you with every ounce of your being. Love them. Love and choose to trust them. Even if you feel they may not be trustworthy, love and trust them. Step away from fear and doubt in the moment, whatever that means for you. And choose love and separate yourself from divisiveness. For example, this vessel is absolutely 100% committed not to affiliate in any way, shape, or form with any political party or any religious institution that might inhibit her from being what someone needs. Be love for the one in front of you. Be love for the one in front of you. Pour out all the love you have for them. And when you've done your best and they cannot receive, or you don't know how to love them, then go back and love yourself. Love yourself, love yourself, love yourself.
Gosh, I love that answer.
And if anything fails there in any way and you are uncertain, then go back and meditate. Love and meditate. Love and meditate. All things can be resolved in meditation. All things. All things. Home Depot says, where doers get things done. We say, meditation, where doers get things done. Do things first in meditation. And resist the urge to act or take action until you are in perfect alignment and peace. Most of the time, no action is needed beyond loving and meditating.
Oh my gosh. I think, Judah, that we're going to need to have you on the show a lot more because there's so much that you could teach us and there's so many questions. But I do have more questions for Angie's. But before you go, Karen, do you have any last questions for the collective? Yeah, anything you want to say to them or anything? Oh, I don't mean to make you cry again.
No, I can't. I got to keep it together. So,
all right. Well, Judah, thank you so much for coming and speaking with us today.
It
We're
is
hoping
always
that
a
we'll have a
pleasure.
chance to connect with you again in the future.
Yes, we
Until
would
then,
love
thank you so
that.
much.
We look forward to it very much.
Wow. So, Angie, you did not warn us what to expect. There was like a complete transformation. It was
instant.
like, yeah. A third and final time, hopefully, if you're only listening to the show, you're doing yourself a disservice if you could only see the change in Angie when she gave herself away to let the collective through. That was incredible. So catch it on our YouTube channel. If you've not watched it, I urge you strongly to watch it. That was astounding, truly astounding, and a little scary. Because suddenly you became a different person altogether. It was wild.
Yes. And in the strangest way, Will, it feels like I'm actually being my very best self somehow. It's really an amazing feeling. It doesn't at all feel intrusive.
Totally see that.
It just, the energy and love that I feel while it's happening is so. And it's what's so beautiful about it is I feel like I'm actually able to love the people in front of me the way I've always wanted to,
Wow.
Through you.
Yeah, I got to say, so I'm one of those people that kind of like channeling has always been iffy for me. I was like, well, I don't know, it's a little weird, and I got to be honest. At first, it was very weird for me. When you changed, I was like, ooh, I don't think I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. But then, call me crazy. Go ahead, call me crazy. But the feeling, the energies that came through as I continued to talk, suddenly it just kind of dissipated. All my thoughts of this is weird just suddenly became, no, this is perfectly natural and super welcoming, especially when he scolded me. That was like, I was back as a kid. It was like, it was awesome. It was perfect. And then from that point on, I was like, yep, I'm all in. So wonderful.
And, I've always thought channeling was super weird too, and definitely was always a skeptic for certain. So I don't know exactly how that works, but the fruit, Judah's always talking about check the fruit. When the fruit of it is so good, when you're instantly healed, when you feel so loving towards people, when you feel so transformed by the energy of the room, how do you say no to that? And just the wisdom,
especially with such loving energy that was in the room. I can't imagine anyone that wouldn't want to just give themselves up to that. That was incredible.
It really was.
Truly, I've got literally about 15 shows worth of questions. So I'm going to try to, because it's the Skeptic Metaphysician and because we have to ask the questions, I have to ask, how was the experience for you? I mean, is it
how can you be sure that this is the collective coming through and not just you or your your subconscious just kind of free associating? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I asked myself all those questions. I mean, in the beginning, I would have really tough moments like, what's going on? Am I schizophrenic? Do I need to go on medication? Should somebody be locking me up? You know, that mind stuff kicks in. And I think, you're right. I don't think we really have to know the answer. I think we have to go by the fruit of, is this producing something really good in my life and other people's lives? If I think for me, I have to just set aside the weirdness of it and the bizarreness and listen to the message. And I do that. One of my favorite things that we're doing now, we have a daily quotes from Judah. And so every morning when I get up, in my email is waiting for me a daily quote from Judah. And usually by the time it's arrived there, I've long forgotten it. I mean, I spend so many hours channeling that I can't remember all the things that Judah said. And so many times I read it and I think, oh, wow, that's exactly what I needed to hear today. Did Judah actually say that? I'd forgotten that. And that speaks exactly to what I'm going through with this situation or that situation. Wow. And so, I mean, if the message is relevant, if the shoe fits, wear it. If it's powerful, if it shifts something in your life towards joy, towards love, towards happiness, why not? I mean, I could spend all day talking about how weird it is or questioning it, but maybe I just don't need to.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, that's really cool. Is this something that anyone can sign up for to get Judah's daily inspirational thing? Because I'm in. If that's
They're free.
The case.
You just go to the website and sign up for, or on YouTube. On YouTube, we have a channel almost every single day. There's a brand new channel from Judah or one of our friends at the party. And then the free quotes you can sign up for there or on thejudahchannel.com. Yeah.
That's awesome. We're going to lay in a direct link to that in our show notes. Just go to skepticmetaphysician.com, go to her episode page, and you'll see the link directly there. So it's easy for you to access both. And you're right, the Judah did mention your YouTube channel, and I think that's something that I'm going to subscribe to as well. But a question that's burning in my head right now is, when you're doing this, is this free association, or are you actually thinking of the answer before it comes out of your mouth? Does it have a little bit of Anjie in it, or is it just purely just bleh?
I think that one of the things they've shown me is that, we have lots of sources of help. We have our higher self, we have angels, we have source energy, we have the Akashic records, we have other interstellar races. All those things kind of overlap. They all have a sweet spot where they kind of overlap. So I do think that that they make use of my experience, even vocabulary and learning that I have in my brain. And they can use all of that kind of like vocabulary from which to channel. And sometimes I do worry, I think, what if this is just bullshit? What if I'm just sharing something out of my head,
Sure.
And so, but I have to kind of leave that. And also I have to trust the listener. And I say to people a lot of times, take what you like and leave the rest, and I want to always encourage people to be discerning and to be skeptical and to only embrace what really witnesses to their own heart and what kind of aligns with what they're feeling in their own higher self. And there are times too where I've channeled some beings have come around that do feel more lower vibe, and I'm not sure that I agree with what they're saying. And I think that's okay too, because like Judah said earlier, we're all beings, even other interstellar races and angels are in a process of evolution, and they are all entitled to their own perspective. And I don't mind giving them a voice and a platform. It doesn't mean that I endorse every single thing that they're saying, but it gives me a chance to exercise discernment too.
Gosh, I have so many questions. Karen, I don't want to monopolize the entire time.
No, I'm still just kind of figuring out what happened there to me.
So in a state of bliss.
I'm just soaking in it. So go ahead.
Well, one of the questions I wanted to ask Judah, and I didn't want to take up too much of their time, but there's a lot of talk these days, and you keep mentioning other beings from other planets and things like that. There's a lot of talk these days of unidentified objects in the skies across the world, really now. They found one, I think, in Romania and things like that. So does Judah have any guidance about that? What is it? And is this the time? Are they actually now disclosing themselves to us, or should we be prepared for anything?
Yes. Should we ask Judah?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
if you
we'd
don't
be
mind.
happy to answer that, dear. So a lot of the purpose of so many new channels such as this one coming forth and our voices being so prominent and given widespread attention is the need for cushioning and gentle transition around disclosure of cosmic beings in interstellar races. For there will most certainly be global awareness of the existence of many vast myriads of souls and interstellar races and angelic beings. And there is so much in your media and culture, including in the news, that is very cleverly, sometimes unconsciously, other times intentionally designed to incite fear. Be very careful. You see, most young children, when you speak to them about UFOs, are frightened. They are frightened because of the early imprints of media on their consciousness about what these beings are, what they are like. And that's is much of why we are speaking, Judah, now, because even in this moment, as you experience the love and grace and wisdom and truth we are sending you, you are having a disclosure of your own. You are experiencing what it can be, what wonderful thing it can be to have a relationship with a higher dimensional being from out there, from the unseen realms, that love and care for you and only want your highest good. And so this is why these channels are very, very important, because this transition is coming. It is inevitable. There will be global awareness of ETs, and we would prefer to bring it in softly now as a soft landing with this sort of intimate conversation and relationship. Otherwise, there will be much fear, you see.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes perfect sense. So what you're saying, Judah, is there's no need to fear any kind of ET or anything like that.
That is right. When this vessel watches the news and she sees these stories, she says, "Oh, they've got my back. I'm so glad I don't have to worry about that."
Awesome. Thank you
And
so
so
much, Judah.
this
That
is
was
what
a
we
burning
would
question
say.
in my head.
So we would say you can initiate your first contact with beings that with which your soul aligns, the ones that ring true for you, the ones that you would want to have in your as a part of your life and your experience. You make the first contact, and this will bring cushioning and protection for you in coming days.
And how do you do that? How does someone go about contacting them?
It's very simple. For instance, if you today feel a connection to Judah, you say, "Hello, Judah. Hi, my name is, and I'm so glad to have you come into my awareness, and I'd like to get to know you." In the same way that you would greet and meet any other human person that you had an interest in.
Thank you very much, Judah, once again.
Thank you.
Karen, are you going to be saying,
Yes.
"Hello,
I am.
Judah. Nice to meet you"?
Yes, I am.
I had a feeling. Wow, the time has absolutely flown by. I cannot believe it. Anjie, I need you to do me a favor and promise that you will come back on the show, because
I promise.
you were very kind. You and your team were very kind to send us a whole lot of questions that would be appropriate to ask you. We did not ask maybe one of them. It's
That's
ridiculous.
right.
We have so much to talk about.
We have no agendas over here. We're just showing up. We would love to come
Yeah,
back.
no,
Well,
it's
thank you sure did show up.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. The last question before we say goodbye and thank you, I couldn't help but notice that Judah kept referring to you as a vessel. Is there, I mean, I think I know why, but is there a specific reason why they don't say Anjie?
Absolutely. Well, because if you think about a potter who is working on a potter's wheel and they have a lump of clay and they're shaping that clay, and the potter gets to decide what shape that vessel will take on and whether it will be a vessel for ordinary use or some extraordinary use, or perhaps very ornate and intricate, or perhaps very simple. And so the vessel has no say in that. It's the potter that has the say. And so they talked to me a lot very early on. They understood that this is part of why they came to me, is that I don't feel any need to say what message I contain or how I should be shaped or formed. You see, I finally let go of all that. I finally let go of wanting to be the star and the singer and the teacher and the perfect mother. And, I let go of all of that. And I just decided, well, especially during that time of sickness, I'm just going to be this lump of clay on the wheel, on the potter's wheel. And I'm just going to let the universe shape me into any vessel that will serve. And so I'm just here empty, and whatever message or beings or presence can make use of my voice in my body. I trust that the potter is making all that work out for the good, and that I'm in good hands. So I don't need to be self-protective. I know a lot of channelers have rituals they go through to make sure they're protected. I don't really feel the need to do that.
I am floored. This has been so much more beautiful than I could ever expected. And I was expecting some beauty. So
Well,
before we say goodbye, is there anything that you want to make sure that our audience hears from you before we say goodbye?
Just to know that you're loved. And if you've heard something in this interview that you want for yourself, it's yours for the asking. And that we're here to serve any way that we can, and in the ways that I'm limited as a human being as far as my time or exchange. We have other tools that we're happy to give and share, and then also we have tools, that we ask for fees for, because we have staff that we pay and so on. But we're here for you, and if you want to be connected, you can be a part of this family. You just fill out your adoption papers and send us an email or a message and say, hey, we're here. We want to be a part of the family, and we'll just take you right in. And we're just thrilled to meet you.
That's amazing. There's so much we did not talk about. We didn't talk about your True You Accelerator course. We didn't talk about your musical career that you had to put on pause because of all this. I mean, there's so much about Anjie that you I'm sure would love to learn. So we are going to put in a direct link to your website and to all the ways that people can reach out to you so that they can get even more connected with you, because you are such an amazing person. I mean, it just comes out of you in waves. This has been an absolute honor and a pleasure to get a chance to chat with you. And I do hope that we'll have a chance to have Judah and you back on the show sometime really soon.
Yeah,
we got lots more questions.
And we're deeply grateful for your work. Thank you for all that you're doing, and we pray that it will be greatly expanded.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming along on this journey of discovery with us. We'd love to continue our conversation with you on our website at skepticmetaphysician.com or on Facebook and Instagram under Skeptic Metaphysician Podcast. If you know someone who would benefit from hearing the messages we're sharing on the show, do them and us a favor and share the show with them. It will help get the word out about us, and it may just change someone's life for the better. And if you're listening to this on the radio and you missed something, well, Not to worry, all of our shows, including this one, can be found at skepticmetaphysician.com, where you can also watch the videos or even send us an email or voicemail directly from the site. We absolutely love feedback and would appreciate hearing from you. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as we have. That's all for now. We'll see you on the next episode of The Skeptic Metaphysicians. Until then, take care.